Today on Flavor Forge, we're heading to the south of France. Well, kinda. We're making a classic Tian. Layered vegetables, slow-baked herbs, olive oil, and just enough garlic to let your neighbors know you're cooking something good. Here's what you'll need. Zucchini, yellow squash, some eggplant, 1 onion, some tomatoes, a whole lot of garlic, trust me, some oil. You'll probably use a little bit of salt too, but that'll come up later. And then some herbs. Dried herbs are fine. Fresh is always better. I like an herbes de Provence. It gives it that fennel and lavender taste. Give it a little bit more of that earthy and floral fragrance. Some cheese. I'm gonna use a Parmigiano Reggiano. A Gruyere would also be good. All right, we start with flavor in a skillet. Let's head over to the stove. In your skillet, you're gonna add in your oil. You're gonna want enough just to coat the pan. So, that shouldn't be too bad. We're gonna cook our onions until they're translucent. Add our garlic. All right, and then we're gonna add our can of peeled tomatoes. You can also do crushed tomatoes. Crushed tomatoes would probably be really good. Because what we'll end up having to do is crush these by hand. Once they warm up though, they'll get real soft. All right, we're gonna let that simmer. So now we're about halfway done, believe it or not. The next step is to actually slice your vegetables. And you can do these by hand with a knife, but what I'm gonna do today is something that we haven't introduced into the kitchen yet, and it's the use of a mandoline. And I'll show you what this looks like, but basically you can adjust the size of a plate here and slice your vegetables to the exact thickness. It makes this work go very quick. All you have to do though is watch out for your fingers because it is very sharp. Okay, so let me show you what this looks like. And you get these nice thin slices. All right. And this gets done for all of our vegetables. Once you finish slicing your zucchini, your squash, your eggplant, and your tomatoes, it's probably about time to pull off your tomatoes, garlic, and onion base. Now I've pulled mine off already, and about that time it took me to mandoline all those vegetables, and you can see it's not like a puree. It does have some consistency to it, a little bit of texture. You can see some of those onions and garlic, but now would be a really good time to test it, see what it's missing. Now be very careful because it's probably really hot. I mean, it's still steaming, but it's good to taste it just to make sure you aren't missing anything from it. And I would actually ground a little bit of pepper in here and a little bit of salt, just to kind of finish off the flavor. And that should be all it needs. Now here comes the real fun part. What you're going to do is take some of that base that you made, layer it into your pan. Now you can do this in a ramekin like I'm doing, or in an oven-safe pan, and make one big batch. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to layer these in smaller batches so I have some to cook up later. And all you're going to do is you're just going to alternate vegetables, tomatoes, and just keep going until you fill up the pot. Has a beautiful color. Now, from here, this is where I like to do a little bit of salt. Put some salt over that. I'll take that herb mixture I'm gonna add a little bit more of this base to fill in. You don't have to do this with every single one. I like to give it a little bit more sauciness, and don't go overboard, because what ends up happening is the vegetables start to get real juicy as well once they start to sweat. I thought I had some Parmesan here. Yeah. Okay, you're gonna grate your parm. Give it a little bit more richness, and voila. All right, I'm gonna make a few more of these. And then when I'm done, we're gonna throw them in the oven. Once you have all of them finished, you're gonna wanna preheat your oven to 350 degrees. Once that's done, take all of your dishes and start to wrap them in foil. Just like so. And they're gonna go in the oven just like this. Here, take a look. All right, now that your oven's at 350 degrees, go ahead and put your pan in. You're gonna leave that in there for 30 minutes. While you wait for that to be finished, now would be the perfect time to do some dishes. Just kidding, everything's going in the dishwasher. All right, this has been in here for 30 minutes. You're gonna take this out and we're gonna take the foil off. Oh, it smells so good already. Wow, hold on. I really did a number on wrapping these in foil. It's just kind of rip apart. Oh, wow, yeah. Smell that. Okay, throw it back in for another 25 minutes. If you want to get crazy, add a little Gruyere or an extra bit of Parmesan and let that crisp up. And that's our French vegetable Tian. Simple, stunning, full of slow roasted, garlic packed flavor. And with that, it's time for me to sign off. So keep your oven warm, your garlic close, and I'll see you next time here on Flavor Forge, where we're hot, humble, and herbaceous. Thanks again for joining.